Tuned in to news and views of myself, Salaila Makwidi. We turn our attention now to the storm clouds gathering over the KZN province. The South African Weather Services has issued a level 4 warning for parts of the province, prompting disaster teams to mobilize and brace for heavy rain, flooding, hail, strong winds, and potentially life-threatening conditions. And among those on high alert, the Imdaad Foundation's emergency response teams. We saw the recent floods already leaving a tragic footprint in the KZN region. Deaths, missing persons, destroyed homes and businesses. The foundation is already prepared. They've learned from the lessons of the previous years, and they're ready to respond. And joining us now is Irfaan Ahmed, National Head of Emergency Disaster Response and Search and Rescue at Imdaad Foundation, to give us insight on how prepared they are, what's really happening in the KZN, and what residents should know at this current moment. Irfaan, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to you and to your listeners out there. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
No, most definitely. And I think let's jump right into it. What is the current weather like in the KZN right now? What's the weather alert for the region, and which areas do you guys consider most at risk under this level 4 warning?
So far we're on high alert as your opening remarks on the level 4 alerts. So from the Northern Natal region, from Pietermaritzburg, coming into your Northern Natal up until Newcastle, we are receiving level 4 alerts. It's out. The weather is gloomy and being cold. Weather has been changing from warm temperatures to colder temperatures, and that also brings in the severe hailstorms that we received yesterday. I'm sure you have seen onto the N3 by Howick, where we received high torrential rainfall as well as hailstones, which has affected motorists on the highway as well. And of our recent floods that when we went to respond into the new Hanover Mshwati municipality, that municipality has been battered with high torrential rains as well, which caused localized flooding, and 3 people sadly lost their lives in that incident.
No, very, very unfortunate. When you guys speak of readiness, what exactly does it mean in real terms for a disaster response organization like Alimdad to go on high alert? Have you mobilized teams? Are you positioning, your search and rescue personnel, vehicles, emergency supplies in real life terms? What does it actually look like, and what kind of preparedness goes into it?
So, in terms of preparedness, we have our fold on responses to disasters is twofold. The first fold is for the search and rescue with immediate response, and the second one is to provide emergency relief. We have warehouses throughout the country as well with our branch officers. They are also on high alert in terms of our relief. So we have been stocked up on our emergency relief to provide to communities. And being this period, yeah, this is our very crucial period of the year. Sure, most of the people are preparing for their holidays and so forth. But as a foundation, we prepare more for the disaster response. And coming back to our search and rescue, we have our rescue units that are always on high alert and are always on standby should there be any occurrences. For example, the Mshwati uh, disaster that we have responded to, our teams left at 10 p.m. that night just to respond to the floods that have occurred. So our responses is a 24-hour approach where we get a call from disaster management, working very closely with them as well, together with local authorities and emergency services such as your SAPS K9 rescue. And obviously, when we do receive high alerts, there are meetings that are taking place within the municipality to to see the preparedness of NGOs as well as other government departments and stakeholders on their preparedness as well. So there is a contingency plan out there. It's just for us now to implement
Mm.
our response.
No, most definitely. And I want to talk about, some of the lessons that you've learned in previous years. The KZN is a flood-prone kind of region of late. I think in the last 5 years, it has been at its worst. Numerous of lives have been lost, damage to infrastructure. What kind of lessons have you learned in the previous years that you're going to implement this time around that could assist you try and mitigate the loss of lives in the numbers that we've been seeing in the last few years?
So now that we have a search and rescue unit, our response to disaster comes in very rapidly. As we all know that the more resources you have on the ground, the better it is without causing any strain to government resources as well. A loss to life is no value to anything. So, with that said, our response over the years, we have been responding to emergency relief materials, and we found this now to be very effective in terms of our search and rescue. And learning from our past experiences, experience taught us to be prepared, to have our plans in place, to have our teams ready on standby. And people that are in distress, we wouldn't want to see any one of us being in that similar
Mm,
situation. And obviously, you would want the best of assistance to yourself, being traumatized as well. The recent one where we responded to Mshwati, one person actually risked their life saving another, and they've ended up in a bad situation where they lost their own lives. So that also taught us a lesson that it's not every time that you put your life on the risk on the line, but it's always to make communities aware as well as to what they can do to mitigate the disaster as well. So it's
mm,
always to do an assessment before putting anybody at risk.
mm,
So that's basically from our side as to how we would respond to disasters. And we all know KZN is amongst the hotspot provinces throughout the country. So with the Provincial Disaster Management Center, they've also learned from their past on the Durban July and how they are going to coordinate the NGOs, private sectors, civil society, government departments, and they do have a great plan in place. So
mm.
we just have to follow the protocols and procedures, and obviously to be responding rapidly when a disaster happens.
Most definitely. Lastly, before I let you go, Irfan, what would you say to the people listening in KZN at this current moment, who are, worried, who maybe still be in doubt about the potential risk that could be coming? What advice would you give them to ensure their safety over the next 24 to 48 hours?
I know a lot of people are planning uh, on their holiday trips as well. So my advice to them is to always follow the alerts. Please do follow the social media platforms on the alerts as well before making your way to your destination. And we always take in for disregard on these alerts. But when you are in that situation, you create panic amongst yourself. So do take that into consideration when planning your trips ahead, and be safe out there. And as for Imdaad Foundation, uh, our 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 motivation for people out there is to be safe, be alert, and continue with your festive safely.
Well, there you go. Irfan Ahmed, Head of Emergency Disaster Response. Thank you so much for chatting to us. We really appreciate it, and kudos for the wonderful work that you guys are doing out at Al Imdaad Foundation.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, I think very, very important work, crucial work that the Imdaad Foundation and their disaster response teams are doing on the ground. If you are in the KZN area region at this current moment, especially in some of the low-lying or flood-prone areas, please heed the warnings, as Irfaan mentioned. Warnings coming from the South African Weather Services. At this current moment, they are advising everyone to move to higher ground, and if instructed, avoid crossing flooded roads or bridges. Stay updated on weather alerts and keep emergency contacts ready and at hand at all times. We'll continue to monitor developments coming out of the KZN region, provide updates and share practical safety advice. Stay safe. We know how bad the KZN, especially the low-lying areas, can be when there's floods, heavy rains, especially during this time of the year. The summer rains can get really, really bad. So it's time to be cautious. We don't want to hear of losses of lives during the festive period. We should learn. We should learn from the previous examples, because this is going to be the new reality right now. It is climate change. It's been spoken about for so long, and we thought it won't reach us, the impacts thereof. But we are here now, and we should be learning to live with it. Going to take a quick break. News and views continues after this.